June 6, 1944. Morning in Normandy. Fog rises over the cold waters of the English Channel. The only sounds are the creak of rigging and the hum of engines. Thousands of ships stretch toward the shore, and ahead lies the unknown, which will decide the fate of Europe. Amid the chaos, a man who turns fear into speed and speed into a deadly weapon. George Smith Patton, a general of the United States, walks along the front line with a gaze that reads both maps and men simultaneously. His soldiers whisper, he sees the battle before it even begins. German commanders knew him as a monster on the battlefield that could not be stopped. Why could one man inspire terror in the hearts of thousands? Why did his soldiers follow him despite exhaustion, and why did his enemies tremble at the mere mention of his name? What was the secret of Patton? Strategic genius, discipline, or an elusive sense of timing? These questions arise immediately when observing his command actions, the breakthroughs in Normandy, rapid attacks in the Ardennes, and lightning maneuvers in North Africa. And the deeper we go, the more we understand. Patton was not just a general, he was a symbol that war is tempo, resolve, and the ability to make the enemy see death where there is none. George Smith Patton was born on the 3rd of November, 1885, into a family of officers. From a young age, he absorbed military discipline and studied the tactics of cavalry and mechanized units. The most important lesson he learned was to understand war as a living machine where every second matters and delay means death for soldiers and defeat for command. Patton's first significant experience came during the First World War when he commanded cavalry units and armored divisions. There he realized that an attack with determination and speed could break even the strongest enemy positions. Over the years, this principle became the cornerstone of his style. In December 1943, Patton assumed command of the 3rd United States Army. The offensive power of this army was immense. Tens of thousands of men, hundreds of tanks, artillery units, transport columns, and communications that had to function like clockwork. Patton immediately understood, victory is not in numbers, but in tempo. Moving slowly gives the enemy time to recover. Moving fast unbalances the opponent and disrupts his plans before he can execute them. Normandy, June 1944. While Allied forces slowly consolidated on the beaches, Patton prepared a lightning advance into France. His strategy was not mere arithmetic, it was the psychology of combat. German commanders could not respond to rapid redeployments. Their reserve units were caught in the rear, and supply lines were under constant pressure. Soldiers under Patton recalled that he demanded not just action, but a sense of inevitable victory. He walked among the columns, checked vehicles, spoke with drivers and mechanics, personally participating in repairing broken tanks and transport vehicles on the march. His famous phrase, "Movement itself is a weapon," was not empty words, but a guide to action that changed the course of the campaign. Patton was sharp, sometimes rough, but incredibly demanding of himself and his subordinates. He knew how to ignite the fighting spirit, understood soldier psychology. Fatigue, fear, and doubt could be a stronger enemy than any opponent. In his diaries, he wrote about the importance of discipline, maintaining morale, and that a soldier confident in his commander could accomplish the impossible. Patton's opponents felt his presence even before his troops appeared on the battlefield. Wehrmacht forces called him the devil with the eyes of a lion. His advances were lightning fast, and the methodical nature of his actions was terrifying. He combined speed with maneuver, using tanks, infantry, and artillery as a single mechanism. Breakthroughs under his command often looked like chaos, but behind that chaos was strict logic and discipline. Sicily, 1943. Patton commanded landing and offensive operations, advancing across the island at incredible speed. His attacks left the Germans no chance for defense. American soldiers recalled how the general personally directed column movements, checked positions, and demanded maximum speed from everyone. His ability to act quickly and make instant decisions amazed even experienced officers. North Africa, 1943 to 1944. Here, Patton faced an enemy who knew his reputation and expected standard attacks. But the general created an illusion of chaos and unpredictability, with fast strikes and flanking maneuvers, shifting the battlefront so that German commanders lost orientation. The psychological effect of his actions was often stronger than artillery fire. The enemy could not realize where the attack would strike and often surrendered without a fight. The Ardennes, December 1944. Patton proved that speed could be salvation. At a critical moment, when a German offensive threatened to cut off American forces, the Third Army was redeployed to the front with record speed. Tank columns, infantry, artillery, all moved as a single organism. Thanks to the rapid maneuver, the enemy lost initiative, and American forces were able to stabilize the front line. Patton was known for his courage and willingness to be among his soldiers on the front line. He wore polished boots and a bright cross on his uniform, making him easily recognizable. Yet he never hid behind headquarters. Soldiers trusted him because he lived on the front lines with them, inspected positions, and inspired troops by personal example. German commanders feared not only the strength of the Third Army, but also Patton's unpredictability. The speed of advance, sudden maneuvers, redeployments, all of it undermined enemy morale. His foes understood that a single mistake or delay could cost thousands of lives, and this fear acted as a weapon. Even after the war, Patton's methods were studied in military schools around the world. He demonstrated that an offensive is not just about technique and troop numbers, but about understanding enemy psychology, maximizing speed and maneuver, and using initiative and discipline. Patton is an example of how the personality of one man can change the fate of armies. His style was daring, fast, and controversial, but the results were undeniable. American soldiers followed him, allies were amazed, and enemies trembled. Patton's secret is simple. His enemies feared him more than death because he could turn every maneuver into psychological pressure, every attack into an unpredictable threat, and every day of war into a test that only the strong and resolute could survive.